Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blamed...
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Right then. Show me what you have.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed. Or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals. but I don't like you asking questions.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly. But it is not your concern, Doctor.
Goodbye, miss. Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
Well, you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad. And dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool?
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
You again?
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look, don't be afraid.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
Most people don't become thugs when unemployed. This is a choice you made.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
Goodbye.
Cheap price, good quality. Fancy buying some...
You never lose... Joe Peterson. He's the villain here, isn't he? But you seem to know each other.
I'd known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice. He was a friend then. And these days, he's just another thug.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides his behavior toward you, obviously.
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer, good one even. But after his wife passed away, he found every excuse to stop training. Just wanted to pick fights with everyone.
It's never easy to find a new path in life, especially after the loss of a loved one. But crime is certainly not the best option.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
And no one has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody would be fool enough to stand against a wet boot boy.
Goodbye for now.
I should never have taken up my father's business.
Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I would like to ask you a few questions.
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look for you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Okay then. Come on in. I'm Harry, by the way.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good friends. What happened, Harry?
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying him? I don't know.
Have you tried speaking to Mr. Lewis about it?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone. I guess my father frightens him too much.
But you are not responsible for your father's actions.
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my safety. So if I wasn't born, people wouldn't be worrying about Colossus Joe.
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day, but I'm fine. I'm just tired of being sick all the time. If only I could be tough, like... Well, you know.
Speaking of which, what can you tell me about your father?
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things. That's all I have to say.
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. And look around you. Does this look like a nice place to live?
You have a roof over your head, a place to call home. Many people here are not as lucky, you know.
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things. Bloody and frightening things.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear of the epidemic?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed. It's the living I'm afraid of.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
It's locked. So,
I'm not bothered.
would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job? Because he tried, you know.
I can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped his thuggish activities, but I'm not sure it would be enough.
Why is that?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reed. Or it's this life. It's like I can't find my place.
Goodbye, young.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
You again?
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now, and people won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak, and there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane. She gave the boy confidence.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid. Fancy...
You never... What do you know of Harry Peterson? The boy seems so fragile. Not like his father at all.
Harry's a good boy, but he spends most of his time complaining. He's had it tough, all right, but he needs to grow a pair.
What troubles him exactly?
But despite being his father's son, almost everything, I think. He never wanted to come to Whitechapel in the first place. Hates this place more than most of us.
Goodbye for now.
Where's my money?
Good evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure. Sure. Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So,
I'm not bothered.
goodbye, young.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
something going on in this district. I don't know what. Like a secret or a plot. I must believe.
You still want more from Christina?
When we spent the night together, my wallet went missing.
Are you calling me a thief? I don't have your stupid wallet.
I know you. You're a nice girl. Can't we solve this amicably?
No, I don't think so. And if you think you know me just because we shared the bed together, you're just a lousy and arrogant journalist.
I cannot enter.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want my readers to understand. We live in an intolerant and divided nation.
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can vote, I'm convinced things will change.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
I served in France. Our top priority must be to put an end to this butchery. This war must stop now.
Sir, streets are a battlefield too. An invisible and untold war is going on, and it must be stopped.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist. hoping to sell some stories.
Tell me, Clayton, do you really think this young woman stole your wallet?
Christina? Yes. I recently met her. A nice girl, despite her questionable conduct.
How exactly did you meet Christina?
During my investigation, I offered my hotel room to her to rest and get away from the street.
And what happened?
The next morning, my wallet and my watch had disappeared. I suppose that's what you get for being a good Samaritan.
If you are going to sleep with a lady of the night, Clayton, I would advise you to be cautious.
I can't really be mad at her, though. She's just trying to survive. She doesn't have many options.
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor.
I will see you later. Was it wise to become so intimate with a woman you were supposed to interview, Clayton?
Maybe it was. But I have learned to look for the inner truth and beauty in people.
You're right. I know little of your situation. What can you tell me about Christina?
She's very sensitive. So nostalgic about her country. I saw her cry once because she'd lost a precious souvenir from her homeland.
What was it?
A scarf her brother gave her before she came to England.
Why are you so concerned? You seem to have something on your mind, Mr. Darby.
That we could make peace if I could find it and give it back to her. But I'm afraid she lost the scarf somewhere during her night shift.
Goodbye, Mr. Good evening, Chris.
Change your...
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Did you steal Clayton Darby's wallet? Tell me the truth, Christina.
Of course I stole it. But I never thought he would come back to look for it.
Why did you do it? He seems to trust you.
For a time I thought he was different from other men. In the end, he just wanted to sleep with me. Same as the others.
Perhaps Clayton is different. Maybe you two should talk. A conversation couldn't hurt.
I know what I am and what people call me. I sleep with men for money. If I can accept that, why can't he? No. My future is with the ones I love, not with Clayton Darby.
The ones you love? The money you stole is not for you, then?
My brother is still in our hometown in Romania. I am the only one who can buy him a ticket to England.
Tell me, Christina, is it worth risking your health and your life for your brother's safety?
He's the only family I have left. I had to leave Romania without him. I can't be happy until he is near me again.
I understand your concern. I spent many months away from my family when I served on the front line in France.
Every time I write to him, I fear I won't receive an answer. It kills me to know he is still there.
But what about your life, Christina? Are you so worried about your brother's survival that you'll risk your own?
You think you know it all because you fought in the war. But my brother is no soldier.
I know. We all understand the risks to soldiers, but we don't necessarily recognize the civilian casualties caused by these conflicts.
Yes, wars are decided by rich men who will never take the risk of being shot, raped, or maimed.
Does your brother know what you do to earn the money to bring him here?
Don't be simple, of course not. And he must never know. Everything will be different once he is here with me.
Goodbye.
Good evening.
Do you know that Christina is hoping to pay for her brother to travel to England in the near future?
I see. No, she didn't tell me that. But that explains many things.
Do you believe she will ever see her brother again?
As long as the war rages in Europe, I'm afraid her chances of seeing her brother again are slim to none.
Goodbye. Good evening.
Change.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crasionescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Goodbye, men. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it? Very well. Goodbye then.
every night. Aye, but the gods recruit more and more every year.
When did you join the guard? 2 days ago. This is my first patrol. It's closed. Please, sir. Can't let you through.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I have this thirst for blood.
Closed.
Ain't safe here for a gentleman. Are you deaf?
Best turn around if I were you. Crush the leech, boys! Where is it? Take a breath for this!
Finish it!
I'll get you there. Get back in the grave!
Shoot it!
sure Albert would like to know he's been accepted by the Wet Boot Boys.
Easy does it, boys. We can deal with this first. Come back, you! Fuck, he's dead! Die, vermin! Boy, you leech! Back in the grave!
This is despicable.
Damn strangers are attacking!
This is Braille. I need someone who can read this.
What happened? Who are you?
It's all right, sir. You're safe now.
Oh, a fellow Englishman. Thank you, sir. For a moment, I thought those bloody heathens had killed me.
What are you doing here? This place is not safe.
Yeah, it's a cesspool, but it's mine. I came to collect some overdue rent, but those who still live here have gone completely bonkers.
You're very lucky to be alive.
Yeah, filthy immigrants. Fucking savages, every one of them. And now with this bloody fever, they're just animals.
You can find safety of sorts in Whitechapel. If you're quick and cautious, you'll be able to avoid the savages.
Good! Back to the shadows! Easy does it, boys! We can deal with it first! Be strong, brother! Cannot be defeated! Watch out, the power of the Lord commands you!
Not a good place. Die first!
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cavigan fellow.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
It's locked, all right. It's locked. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, nurse.
Depart. Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Tell me the truth about your appointment as a medic during the war, Rakesh.
The regiment administration appointed me by mistake. I had to learn the job on the spot, sir. Very hard, sir, but I rose to the challenge.
Do you realize how many soldiers died because of that decision? You should have refused.
Yes, sir. I swear I did, sir. But no one listened. When the first wounded arrived, I had to do what I could.
It is an unbelievable story, Mr. Chidana.
It was a time beyond belief, Dr. Reed. But I'm happy not to deal with the wounded. I prefer caring for the dead now.
You can't impersonate a doctor. You can't improvise a medical education. People could die at your hands.
You're absolutely right, sir. But as a field surgeon, it was more like being a butcher.
Do you believe you have really helped these people?
My ratings were within the averages of the regiment. I saved lives, Dr. Reed. Does that not say enough about triage and war surgery?
Do you need medical attention? Well, don't take too many risks with your health, Mr. Chidana. None of us are immune to this disease.
And that is a good thing. Death and disease is a constant reminder of our mortality. But you have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Miss.
It never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead, seem peaceful and lost at the same time.
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening, Doctor.
Is there anything else that...
Really?
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Goodbye for now.
My sweet girl. Treats me like a boy.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you, then.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require medical attention?
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me that?
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this hospital.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Goodbye, Mrs. Good evening, Miss.
I'm okay.
I have to go now.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
I'm quite busy.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
Thank you. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you need medical help yourself, Nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reed.
Not under my watch, Nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Milton cheats patients out of their money at this hospital, Pippa. Are you his accomplice?
Yes, I am.
Is this your definition of being useful? By abusing the sick and poor?
No. It is my definition of getting out of this useless life once and for all.
Why do you do it?
Why not? Most of the sick who paid for a bed are already dead, or will be soon. Don't you see the futility of all this?
You put a price on hope. This goes against everything you swore to uphold as a nurse.
Report me then, Dr. Reed. Report the little nurse and keep on lying about the surgical errors, the wrong dosages and diagnostics that we all covered for the sake of our colleagues.
Whose idea was it?
What difference does it make? We did it together, and I'm guilty as charged.
Answer my question.
It was my idea first, even though Milton would say it was his, to protect me.
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require
I will be fine.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still...
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask.
The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
Admit it. Nurse Hawkins is more than your lover. She's also your partner in crime.
Of course she is. How else could I tell which bed is free? I need to know that.
Have you no shame?
Don't you see this city is crumbling down? Today people are ready to pay to get a hospital bed. Tomorrow we may be fighting for food.
Do you need any medical help?
I'm afraid I do.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. I get the feeling you don't fall sick often. Well, thanks anyway.
Goodbye, Milton.
Hey, Doc.
Am I right to assume your wife's letter pissed you off, Clay?
I was so mad, I threw away the knife she got me when we got married.
Your wife gave you a knife as a wedding present.
That knife has always been my lucky charm. If I'd had it in my hand when I got stabbed on that pier, I'd not have been wounded.
Do you want it back?
I don't need it here, but if you'd be kind enough to bring it to me, I'd be really grateful.
A grateful Clay Cox? I might just find your knife and bring it back to you to see that happen.
I can give you directions, but I'd be surprised if you managed to find it. My hideout isn't meant to be found easily.
A lucky charm? I never would have taken you as the superstitious type.
We all have our flaws, Doc. Mine's to have my weapon of choice for when the really dirty business comes around.
What can you tell me about your marriage, Clay?
Marriage is the sweetest cage, they say. Well, I found myself locked in one with a wild animal.
You mean your wife keeps you on your toes?
No, I mean, we both have claws and we both love to bite.
I'll leave you.
Is this supposed to be an hospital? A pigsty would smell better.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft.
And I'm glad to meet you too, mortal. I see things much more clearly since I escaped those hunters. And that includes you, Jonathan.
And what exactly have you learned about me?
You try to be a decent man, Dr. Reed. And you're trying to make a difference. That's more than most mortals I've ever met.
That's quite a statement, Miss Howcroft.
But there is more, isn't there? Your interest for my condition. Your subtle innuendos. Are we the same, Doctor?
No. I'm worse than you, Thelma. We both pretend to be something we're not. But my deceptions are far more malignant.
For once I sense real honesty in your voice, Dr. Reed. Somehow that frightens me.
Judging by the look in your eyes, there is something you want to ask me, Miss Howcroft.
Listen to my voice, Jonathan. You can't refuse to answer my questions. Speak now. Tell me about you and that fancy red-headed lady.
You mean Lady Ashbury? What about her?
Don't resist me. Answer now, Doctor. What's really going on between you two?
It's complicated. She's so secretive. I'm not sure I can really trust her.
Now, Jonathan. I want you to forget we had this little conversation. You can get back to what you were doing.
Do you think about Thomas's death sometimes?
Every night. I did not want to kill him. I liked him. And now those hunters want me dead.
You're no murderer, trust me. Only a fool would believe otherwise.
How long before other mortals start hunting me? As always, blood is the only price for blood.
You're safe as long as you stay here. Those people who hunted you have learned their lesson. I can assure you.
These walls will not protect me, Doctor. They will never forget the crime I've done. And nor will I.
You are a patient here, Miss Howcroft. Someone with real needs who deserves peace and treatment. I will protect you.
Don't be ridiculous, Doctor. How could a mortal carry all the pain of the world on his shoulders? I should be far more cautious.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Time has lost its effect on me. The suffering continues.
Simpletons, these nurses.
The giant morgue disguised as a hospital. West Pendant Artist.
The flower's dying. It needs water.